Here I am, back again to review 24 A24 movies. You know, that studio where every movie is an hour and a half. Like, seriously, it's kind of crazy how many of their movies are an hour and a half.
Let's cause some trouble now. Live life to the fullest. Spring break. Spring break forever.
My name is Sebastian, and today I will be watching and reviewing The Killing of a Sacred Deer, directed by Yorgos Lanthimos. If this movie is anything like Lanthimos' last A24 movie, The Lobster, it gonna be weird. I really enjoyed The Lobster though. Especially with some garlic and melted butter. Oh, baby. The movie was good too. Colin Farrell stars alongside Nicole Kidman and Barry Keoghan. Honestly, I used to not like Mr. Farrell as an actor, but he's really grown on me in the last few years. So, since Willem Dafoe didn't show up to my party last week, I'm inviting you, Colin. You got 358 days to clear your schedule, so I don't want to hear any excuses. Anyways, we gotta get through 23 more of these movies, so let's get started. Wait. Spoilers ahead from now on. Okay, go ahead. The movie starts with Colin Farrell's character, Stephen Murphy, a cardiac surgeon, taking Martin, Barry Keoghan's character, under his wing, giving him advice about being a surgeon. At first, Barry seems odd, but innocent enough. Like me. Then we meet the rest of Stephen's family. Anna, his wife, played by Nicole Kidman. Bob, his son, played by Sonny Suljic. And Kim, his daughter, played by Raffi Cassidy. They seem like a somewhat normal family, but something seems off. Stephen and Anna seem like they have lost the spark in their marriage. They act lovey-dovey in public, but at home, you could cut the tension with a butter knife. We soon learn that Martin only lives with his mom because his dad died on the operating room table. His surgeon? Stephen Murphy. At first, we think Stephen is helping Martin because he feels bad for his dad's death, and maybe that is why he helped at first, but we soon learn the truth. After unsuccessfully setting Stephen up with his mom in a very awkward dinner scene, Martin begins to intrude on Stephen's life and be there at every turn. I should also point out, Martin knows Stephen is married and still tries to have him sleep with his mom. And the mom probably knows that Stephen is married too. You know, there's an Oedipus joke in there somewhere. So Martin starts showing up at Stephen's house all the time, and is constantly trying to see him at work too. He's starting to become a nuisance to Stephen. At a certain point, Stephen seems like he's had enough, but then learns Martin blames him for his father's death. He wasn't trying to learn about surgery or anything like that. He was a parasite, beginning to leech off his host. So, what does he do? He starts dating Kim, Stephen's daughter, of course, and then sinks his teeth into her. After only a few times of seeing each other, she'll do anything for him. Teenage love. Martin is constantly around Stephen and his family, and honestly, is starting to outstay his welcome. You know, this is bad and all, but the movie takes an extremely dark turn from here. Martin keeps trying to talk with Stephen, but Steven is now ignoring him. But all of a sudden, unexpectedly, Bob, Steven's son, collapses and can't move. They take him to the hospital, but even the top doctors can't find out what's wrong with him. Steven finally agrees to meet with Martin, only to find out that it's Martin that's responsible for Bob's sudden collapse. We find out that he poisoned Bob, and Kim, and Anna, and that they would all soon begin to lose their ability to move, then lose their appetite, then bleed out their eyes. Then die. Lovely. Steven is horrified to hear all this, and Martin informs him that because he took his dad from him, he's going to take one of Steven's family members from him. But the difference is, he wants Steven to choose. He says he'll cure the other two if Steven decides which one he wants to kill. The obvious next step would be for Steven to call the police. But he doesn't. Because we learn near the end of the movie that he used to drink while doing surgery. And not just Capri Suns. Deep down, he knows he's responsible for Martin's father's death. And even if they went to the police, it would come out that he was drinking. And he'd be put in jail anyways. He tries everything in his power to find out how Martin paralyzed his son, but nobody can figure out what's wrong. And then, his daughter becomes paralyzed. And this is where he starts becoming more unhinged. Near the end of the movie, he kidnaps Martin and ties him up in his basement. He tortures him, begging him to undo what he's done. But Martin is not fazed. He barely even shows any emotion. He's laser focused on making Steven pay. Anna, through Steven's anesthesiologist, and I mean through Steven's anesthesiologist, learns about Steven's drinking during the surgery. This causes her to become even more distant from him, and their family is clearly tearing apart. Who would have guessed? Then, in one particularly disturbing scene, Kim, while paralyzed in the hospital bed, gets a call from Martin. Anna's in the room with her and notices her daughter get up and walk to the window. This is the first time she's moved in days, by the way. But as soon as she ends her call with Martin, she goes back to being paralyzed. Anna now realizes the power that Martin holds and how her family is helpless against him. Teens and their cell phones, am I right? When Anna finds Martin tied up in her basement, she doesn't want to hurt him. She wants to be spared. Her and her family. So, she does what any loving mother would do and begins to grovel on the floor and starts kissing Martin's feet. But he won't be swayed. He's rock steady. So then Bob's eyes begin to bleed. And Steven and Anna realize they don't have very much time left. They realize there isn't anything they can do except have Steven kill one of them. Anna doesn't want to die. Selfish much? And suggests that it has to be one of the kids. But Steven doesn't know what to do. How do you make a decision like that? How do you decide which family member to kill? It's an impossible decision. So, he doesn't make that decision. He leaves it up to chance.
The world is cruel, and the only morality in a cruel world is chance. Unbiased, unprejudiced, fair.
He ties his family to chairs in the living room and puts bags over their heads. He then grabs a rifle, closes his eyes, and starts spinning. Whenever he stops spinning, that's where he'll shoot. And after missing a few times, and an unimaginable amount of tension, he finally hits one of them. Bob. His son. A while passes, and Steven, Anna, and Kim are in a diner eating dinner. But Martin is there, reminding them of what transpired. He'll always be around to remind Steven of what he did to his father, and to Bob. Martin is a parasite, and even though he got what he wanted, he's never gonna leave. If you haven't left by this point because of how traumatic this movie is, well, you'd probably get along with me pretty well. This movie stayed with me for a while. It's haunting and disturbing, and a reminder of how things can come back to bite you, whether it be through revenge or guilt. They're extremely powerful factors, and this movie shoves these in your face anytime it gets the chance. The title, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, is in reference to an ancient Greek tragedy where Agamemnon accidentally kills a deer of the goddess Athena. Athena demands that he sacrifice one of his family members because of this. He is initially reluctant, but is pressured into eventually sacrificing one of them. I think the similarities are clear, and I look at this movie as a modern-day interpretation of that ancient Greek tragedy. One polarizing aspect of this movie is the stilted dialogue.
Our daughter started menstruating last week.
Great.
Yes. She was a little scared, but she's okay now. You haven't seen her in ages.
Not since last summer at the school choir. Recital.
You and Mary should come over one night for dinner.
Okay, you do have more hair than I do, but not 3 times more. Me and my mom thought it'd be nice if you came by for dinner tonight. We could watch the rest of the movie.
Lanthimos' last movie, The Lobster, uses the stilted dialogue, but it's more of a deadpan style of delivery. It works in that movie because it's a comedy. The Killing of a Sacred Deer is far from a comedy. Even though I found some of the scenes starkly funny, I think I might just be a psychopath. But I still feel like the stilted dialogue works. It makes the movie creepier than it would have been without it. Some people may not enjoy it, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them for it. It's an interesting artistic choice, but I do think it lends well to make the movie more unsettling than it already is. Everybody delivers a banger of a performance in this movie. Colin Farrell plays an awkward and emotionless surgeon. It takes a lot for him to snap. So when he does, it's almost comical. He doesn't have a lot of chances to portray emotions through his actions, but you can always see the sadness and torment in his eyes and in his words. It's a very subtle performance most of the time, but Farrell does a stellar job. Nicole Kidman is great, as always. You can see her constant struggle with her strained marriage and her bedridden children, and she really showcases her acting ability when she finally succumbs to Martin and begins to grovel in front of him. It's honestly sad how low her character has fallen, but Kidman does a great job making you feel bad and hate her all at the same time. But the show stealer is Barry Keoghan. He is creepy in this movie. You feel he's just a weird kid in the beginning, but you slowly learn how demented and twisted he really is. Only a good actor can make eating spaghetti look this creepy. His performance is what sold the movie for me, because a lesser actor might not have been able to balance the two sides of his character. On one hand, you feel bad for him, because he only lives with his mom, and his dad was killed by Steven. But on the other hand, you despise him for putting Steven's family through all of that. He never yells or gets angry. He just keeps a constant dead stare. Kinda like Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs. And if I'm comparing the two performances, you know it must be pretty good. And again, he makes eating spaghetti look creepy. It usually turns me on. The musical score set the tone almost immediately, letting you know something is wrong. You have these long, dark drones juxtaposed with sudden jumps in the music, never letting you get comfortable. You're constantly on the edge of your seat, because you don't know what's going to happen next in the movie or the music. I thought it did a great job of making you uncomfortable, even when bad things aren't happening on screen. The cinematography and writing didn't really stand out for me, but there wasn't anything wrong with them either. Both were perfectly serviceable. I thought this script was weaker than The Lobster, but The Lobster had a really extraordinary script, so I don't see it as an insult. It just didn't stick with me as much. This movie won't be for everybody. It's disturbing, traumatic, and with the stilted dialogue, people may initially write this movie off. But if you stick through it, I promise you'll be chilled down to your bones. With great acting, music, and a sickeningly disturbing premise, The Killing of a Sacred Deer will be a horror movie I won't soon forget. All this talk of deer and lobster is making me hungry. I'm gonna go make some food. But Colin, if you need any gift ideas when you come to my party next year, I could definitely use a bib. Do you know how hard it is to get melted butter out of fur? I give The Killing of a Sacred Deer 8 out of 10 stars. Make sure to subscribe and like the video. Thank you very much. Bye.